The ABVP is arguably the largest student organization in a democratic setup. It has 3 million members, and in 2015 it amped up from 2.2 million to 3.2 million members, and it's holding steady there. The organization completed 72 years this July, and we have with us Ashish Chauhan from the ABVP. He is the National Organizing Secretary, and we are going to talk about journey of the student organization and lot more. Welcome, Ashish.
Thank you, Prajanma, for having me here.
So, Ashish, in the last 5 years, mostly in the last 5 years, ABVP has gained ground, a lot of ground. It has won some elections, it has lost some, but mostly it has increased the number of members, and the popularity also has grown. What is the strategy of the organization right now?
We started in 1949, and from the earlier decades of initial movement on university campuses, ABVP was a very fresh, new organization. We hardly had any reach outside what you can see Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, the earlier Punjab actually. So from there, initial interaction happened, and it was primarily in BHU, in Allahabad University, in Delhi University, where ABVP initially had presence. Obviously, in next decades, ABVP could spread out into universities across India, including Gujarat, including Bihar, including ABVP did had presence earlier in Pashchim Bengal also, but very minute in compared to the 1960s and 70s in that era. So that reach subsequently with the ABVP's overall activities and presence in institutions of higher learning. While we were learning about ABVP's history, we could gather information about prominent institutions also. There were ABVP volunteers coming out from IITs in emergency movement and post-emergency also in 1980s. Right. So this is how ABVP has grown up in these years. And post-liberalization, you can see with the advent of private universities, private engineering colleges, particularly in South India, our focus was on this commercialization of education. We could raise the genuine concerns of students on ground, where parents, they got in touch with us, students, they took part in our journey, because it was a shared idea that education, it should be available to all people. And it is one thing which in India from the time immemorial, we particularly put education as one of the virtuous things which should not be sold. It should be given as a gift. But obviously in a commercialized environment, when you see we are in a sphere, a genuine, reasonable fees is acceptable, but this rampant corruption of the institution, and in many ways, private universities are the biggest responsible organization institution in this regard. But in many government or public funded universities also, the advent of self-financing courses, these also initiated this commercialization. So ABVP did a survey in 2009 and 10, and it was published, and we got thorough literature on these issues. So in post 2010, you can see it was corruption on highest post of our government institutions, how the CWG, 2G scam, and all those things came in picture, and that was the key aspect of student resurgent. It was Anna Hazare, it was Swami Ramdev, with whom students were connected, and ABVP had initiated Youth Against Corruption as a platform for that particular aspect. ABVP actually jump-started from 2 million to 3 million within a span of, obviously, the jump happens once in a time, but you need to settle somewhere. So though the jump came around 2014, but we settled for 2.7, 2.8 million right now. So at present, ABVP's membership is 2.8 million, but we did touch 3.2, and we are, oscillating between 2.7 to 3.2.
Every student organization talks about how privatization of education is bad. And, we need public education to reach out to more people, to make education a public good should be a priority of every government. Why aren't the student organizations more united on this front?
I can agree with you, Prajanma, on very aspect that organizations should come on. They can come on one platform. As far as the the basic understanding of the issue is concerned, there might be a slight variation between us and the left organization, and that's why I can't comment. But uh, left organization, they primarily focus on all privatization is bad, whereas ABVP believes that privatization as such is not bad, but the
Hmm.
commercializing, the tendencies of some of the people who are running these institutions, and within university structures, obviously we understand when the HEFA is supposed to come, when all sort of funding systems are coming up, whether it is RUSA. So we might have issues with one aspect or another aspect, but we largely believe that institutions, even in private, are not bad per se, but if they charge money, if they charge these capitation fees, if there are attendance fees kind of like
Right.
unheard kind of for a person from outside, that if a friend of ours comes from any other country and they learn that if you don't attend college, you will be fined like in hundreds, and then you are not supposed to give paper, and
Yeah.
you won't be allowed to give the hall ticket or the roll
Hmm.
number for examination unless you pay that much of money. We have heard all these kind of issues, and our college units, our city units hear these kind of complaints every day. That is the very basic aspect we are dealing with. But
Exactly.
largely, I agree that organization can come forward together. And even in our study, we in 2010 had compiled the fee structure of engineering colleges, basic BTech degree, basic polytechnic degree of engineering, and we found where in Gujarat it was 1500 that time in 2010,
Hmm.
1500 per semester. Punjab it was 80,000, 40,000 per semester and 80,000 per annum. This kind of fee structure was there within government system. So
Yeah.
even in government or policy makers, they fail to understand that a reasonable fees is should be there for every person to grow and to be
Hmm.
able to work for society at large. If they are paying the same amount of money in the private sector, the basic understanding that society is catering for them somewhere is lost.
Like we were talking about the popularity that you have gained in the past 5 years, do you think somewhere it is linked to the BJP being in power in the center and the party being so popular among the masses?
As far as ideology is concerned, you we share ideology with the RSS school of thought. In many ways, people who are associated with that same thought, or people who had been earlier alumni of ABVP, reaching out to not only in political system but in many stratas of society, it does give a like a point of reference that these were the ABVP Karyakartas who had earlier learned, worked on social aspects, and they toiled hard in the society for that many years, and this is how they learned this journey. So when these kind of story come in for when people start recognizing these aspects, I think there such kind of positive ideas, positive stories, this do connect. But as far as what you can say, political impact is concerned, I would say I have many point of exception, but point of convergence cannot be denied also. Uh,
Right.
if I have to put you in perspective that in my state where I come from Himachal, political situation, it goes in one direction to others. It's a seesaw kind of a situation, just like Tamil Nadu. But
Hmm.
uh, ABVP was able to retain a student council election and during the college elections in the state for larger share of time post 2000, it was ABVP which was leading the number of college student council won. Similarly, there is an example of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana where uh, the political party you are referring, that is BJP, is yet to take a biggest jump, but ABVP has been there for almost like 20, 25 years. ABVP is leading number of campaigns, program, agitations, even in the pro-Telangana movement. It had ABVP Karyakartas taking part, and the sacrifices of ABVP Karyakartas during the Maoist insurgency within campuses, the influence of Maoist ideology and attacks on university campuses and impact on those colleges was there. It was ABVP which was taking the brunt.
You are a right-wing organization and you're connected to the BJP, the RSS, obviously, you are a student organization of the RSS. You're connected to these two bodies. And people who are against you or in general in social media, you're called Sangis, you're called a fascist group. Do you agree with the fact that you're a right-wing, solely right-wing group, or do you sort of more associate more with the fact that you're a students group first?
As far as any tag is concerned directly, I'm not very amused with these kind of tags, right wing, left wing, centrist kind of thing. But obviously, there is a cultural aspect to our belief system, ideas, understanding, and ABVP believes in that idea. And while we strive for working among youngsters of India, we try to tell them, we try to inculcate ideas that it is our duty as youngsters and as people of India to work for its betterment. And it would be Rashtra Punarnirman, we call it a national reconstruction mission we are dwelling upon. And it would be duty of each and every youngster to take part in this journey and in their own ways how they can contribute to this one. So we would like to create leaders who would take up their task in various stratas of society and be the sons and daughters of Bharat Mata for her like reconstruction.
You have been to various parts of the world and represented ABVP in different forums of where student organizations have met. What is the discernible difference between these two student organizations, the ones in India and the ones abroad?
When we interact with countries outside, having a robust student union system within their campuses as well as outside is, I won't say it is absent, it is there, but it is not that robust that there is a tradition that you work within an organization, whether it was a left organization, whether it is organization like the Congress or the NSUI or Indian Youth Congress or organization which fall under ABVP's aspect. So we lack these kind of organizations, yes, but there are organizations which are directly linked to a political party. There are organizations which are particularly in China, that is Communist Youth League. They literally have members in every section, ABVP and various organizations in India. This Cosmos represents one of the finest cluster student union, youth union organization working for the welfare of the student, taking up their set of ideology. In that sense, India is very, very different. US, particularly Democrats Republic, they have now various organization platform campuses where they have some linkages, some inclination towards a political party directly, but largely they focus on conservative and the liberal kind of spheres, which is the most debated environment right now, whether it is the present Black Lives Matter movement or the other movement of Turning Point America and so forth.
You know, you might have gained numbers in the last 5 years, but you've also made headlines for some of the wrong reasons. This January, there were news reports that linked the ABVP to the JNU violence as well. There were WhatsApp screenshots that alleged involvement of the organization. There was a sting operation by India Today, which showed some of the alleged members claiming that they have been a part of the attack. On the other hand, you have also accused the left parties of the violence. It's been months since that incident, and the pandemic has happened, and we have sort of moved on from that issue. We have shifted focus. But Komal Sharma, who was linked to the attack, was also served a notice under the section 160, but she was never arrested. If you can tell me what's the latest development in the case, because I presume you would be tracking the case, right?
Prajanma, as far as one particular incident is concerned, that particular day, that is 5th of January, if you could go back before that, and obviously I'll be answering your question to the fullest.
Sure, sure.
If you could go back, we could see the whole campus was vandalized, particularly the server room which was hosting online examination. Right now, the kind of criticality we understand for online examination in this pandemic
Right.
time, the particular organization ISA that was leading the charge, duly supported by other segments of the left umbrella organizations there. They came together, they vandalized that one, and it was directly depicted that these were the office bearer, their office bearer. They were there standing outside that room, they vandalized, and it was everywhere on the news, internet, so forth. If you could go back even further behind, the whole election campaign of 2019, yes, we lost. We had gained in terms of number and in terms of councillor seat we had won.
Yes.
Immediately after the election, the results were declared. We had lost the main central panel, but AVP Karyakartas were targeted. They were targeted, they were attacked, and we had filed FIRs after that one, but nobody bothered because an AVP Karyakarta being hurt, being attacked in his or her room, it doesn't create a story. Even in your statement, Prajanma, you said that allegations are against ABVP for violence on campus, and that is ABVP alleged that their attack was also done by
The
left
left party. Yeah.
parties. So for us, you said it is the allegation is there by
Said
all
the
people.
news
No,
reports
no.
linked
Prajanma,
you.
let me finish. Let me
Sure,
finish.
sure.
Let me
No,
finish.
no, I am not
So
interrupting you. I'm just saying
we,
that I said that
uh,
the news reports had linked you to the attack. Because the
so and
judgment is
yeah,
not out, we
I
cannot pay,
no,
obviously.
I understand that. So point is,
Sure, sure. Please.
it doesn't. I'm not saying that you have done it, but it is seeped into our minds that whenever something involves ABVP, everyone say ABVP has done this thing, that thing, and it is bad and so forth. The presidential candidate of Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, his arm was broken the very day, that is 5th of
Yeah.
January.
Yeah. I spoke to him after that, and he also
Did you?
said that, Manish
Janged,
Jangid, he
the
said
girl,
that,
Valentina
correct.
Brahma, her 3 fingers were broken and she had plaster on her fingers.
Right, right. Manish told me
We
that
have
he was
right
attacked
now,
in his room by the
let me finish.
JNUSU General Secretary.
Prajanma, let me finish. Prajanma,
Yeah, yeah,
allow
yeah.
me to kindly
Sure,
finish.
sure,
Hai na?
sure. Please,
So
please.
if you see video, if you see a tweet
Hmm,
tagged on our Twitter timeline right now, it is the
hmm.
video of JNUSU President Ashish Ghosh somewhere around 4:30 in the
Yeah,
evening, 4:30 or 5 maybe. The
yeah.
exact time would be available on the original video which was
Hmm,
submitted to the police.
hmm.
Uh, Around that time, she led the attack on Periyar Hostel. It was evident, everyone saw that one, and she was leading in front charge along with 10, 15 her colleagues. All of them can be identified directly, and they were throwing stones. Chunchun Kumar, I have put myself that video. He was visible on that video. He was throwing stones directly. The javelin throw would have been similar like what Chunchun Kumar has done. All office bearer of ISA, all major office bearer of other organizations, and as far as WhatsApp screenshots are concerned, the
Yeah,
very screenshot you are mentioning, the left against ABVP kind of rightist, that had name changed multiple times within the chat group.
yes, that
So
also
earlier
came
it
out
was
in
a
the
one
report.
knowledge.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the same one channel which was being done. And did anyone talk about Telegram screenshots? How left organization utilized Telegram and their chat was visible in that one. And there was an SFI office bearer saying, I quote, that it is I saw people who are planning something very uh, horrible here, or very the exact word I'm missing, but they were attending some fishing. SFI comrades are not supposed to participate in that one. What does it? Within the left unity, there were some set of people who had some democratic sphere understanding that this is very bad. They were planning to do. They attacked, and at the same time, attack were happening in almost like 4 to 5 places. There was an Adam block which was being attacked, hostel which was being attacked. There was an attack on my Mandvi and other hostels. It was panic, and
Yeah.
why police could not intervene there? If police comes in
Mm.
around that time, there on the campus, they could save people obviously, but the kind of havoc it would be created, that police is coming on campus, police is doing that and this. Nobody talks about
Yeah.
this.
Understandable.
And
Yes.
then listen, the video of Aisha, I condemn that Aisha
Mm.
should not be attacked, or उनको जो चोट आए वो नहीं होना चाहिए था. But
Right.
see, it was somewhere around 7:38. It was very dark outside. It was already dark outside. That time her video came, and around that time AVP volunteers were in Ames hospital, and then all kind of stories can be created. You can tag people, you can attach those people with the
So the
stories.
video that
So
showed Komal Sharma, right? It was
yeah,
also it was dark, and it was she was sent a notice under section 160. What I'm trying
yes,
to
yes,
get
yes.
to is what happened.
As far as investigation is concerned, हाँ मैं बताता
Yeah,
हूँ प्रजमा.
yes.
As far as investigation is concerned, ABVP कार्यकर्ताs who are office bearer within JNU unit, or any person within Delhi outside, whosoever is invited, asked by Delhi police, we are supporting the investigation. We have responded, reached out to Delhi police, or in any given time, we haven't shied away from investigation in this matter. So, particularly speaking, we are there, and when you raise this question of Komal Sharma not being arrested or so forth,
Hmm.
similarly, it has happened with everyone. Police might be responding to situation differently,
So
not
why
not like
aren't these
not like not
stories?
like not like 2016,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
later stories were created. I don't
yeah.
know what kind of idea they might be having, but there is a saner understanding they might be having. Vijay Kumar Yadav, the first ABVP Karyakata who resided in the Sabarmati hostel, which is most talked about, was also arrested, attacked on his room.
Hmm.
This attack happened somewhere around 5:30 around that time, when it was about to the sunset time around that time of the year is around that time only.
Hmm.
I was in Mumbai that day. The first
Hmm.
update I got was somewhere around that time, and
Hmm.
it was EVP Karakata's attack. Within those time, I am hearing stories that EVP is attacking left organized. How it was possible? I was talking to our own Karakata. We could not put our version.
Hmm.
You know who came to meet students in AIMS? None other than Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, and she was asking everyone. And when she learned the Kritika, she is from ABP, she took away that shawl from her. This is the kind of politics, this is the kind of impact. All the left leader, all the Congress leader were there with supporting ISA and people who had attacked students.
Do you feel that you have been victimized? And if you feel so, why weren't you able to put your stories forward? Like we were discussing, you have the largest student organization in India. You are popular now. You're gaining ground. What was the sort of barrier that did not let you put your stories out? Because
Prajanma, you have
whatever
to
the version
understand,
be it, we will
both of
get to
us.
that later. But the stories of ABVP attacking were there more. Like you said, you also sitting in Mumbai were seeing tweets which said that ABVP was attacking. The news stories also said that the people from the students from the university also said that the ABVP had brought people from outside and attacked. Why wasn't your version on the news?
Prajanma, what had happened with the ABVP in JNU was the leadership which was supposed to take these kind of works. We were dealing with them, talking to them in AIMS. They were attacked, they were admitted, we were talking and having conversation on what exactly has happened. Our story of our Karyakartas being attacked, it could only come by 9:30 or 10 o'clock because we were the people, victims on which attack happened. You are a planner that who had planned an attack, you would be ready with all the documents. What kind of theme, what kind of issue to be taken. How it was possible that within minutes,
Hmm.
video of Aisha Ghosh when she was attacked, which I've already told that I condemn all kind of attack on any student. So when she was attacked, her video was viral and top-notch people, big shots, actresses in Bollywood, they were retweeting. And for us, who knows, nobody was supporting in that regard. The point is, if I am planning something, I will come with more documents, more hathiyar in the line, hathiyar in the sense, the propaganda equipments. So this is the worry, and obviously we do understand that though we are increasing our strength in JNU, we are still in terms of total number of strength within campuses. Left organizations in totality are bigger.
And Ashish, talking about leaders, uh, we have had stalwart leaders come out of all kinds of student organizations and student politics in India. We've had people from Amit Shah to Arun Jaitley to Sitaram Yechuri come out of student organizations, student protests. But why is it that our youth leaders are not young anymore? We still call Rahul Gandhi or Sachin Pilot Yuva Netas. Even your national president, Dr. Subaya, also cannot be technically called young. I'm saying, why not put the young people, the ones who are still studying in universities or colleges? Why can't they lead?
Yes, Prajanma, I agree with you on this very fact. The point is, ABVP's constitution is such that no student or student leader can be vice president, president on national, state, and city level. It has to be a teacher. It has to be a teacher and student, being mentor and student being mentee. So in that situation, on that line, organization functions. So it is like particularly saying that जोश के साथ होश होना चाहिए. That way we believe in. They don't go in a rally. They don't participate in these marches, rallies, and whenever there is a memoranda or other things, it is the general secretary who takes the lead. And our general secretary, she happens to be Nidhi Tripathi. She is a student of
Yes,
JNU.
yes.
This is how ABVP believes in. So if you ask me who is your leader per se as a youth leader within ABVP, it is National General Secretary. National General Secretary in ABVP is the leader de facto who is equivalent of National President of NSY and National General Secretary of the SFI. And largely I believe, I fully agree with your point that states across India need to have student union elections, because it is one of the most trusted system to have student movement take part in a democratic sphere. Indian politics should have more young people. Age directly as a number, I don't subscribe to that kind of aspect, but it has to be people who are active, and there has to be a saner understanding of who is young in mainstream politics. So likewise, in many states, for example, in Maharashtra or in Tamil Nadu itself, when you don't have student union elections, there is a complete lack of participation of young people, students on campuses in the policy deliberations or issues of student concern. I want to give you an example of Chhattisgarh in Bastar. The college president could actually take up issues of students. That road is not connected in one particular village. There were issues students were facing for one reason or another. When DC could deal with those kind of issues, student had a better connect to a democratic process. We need to provide them better representation, and those students, they don't have a like constituency per se in terms of in our political structure, but it is a
Right.
constituency of the young student meritorious class of our country, where they are taking up their academics, and they would like to deliberate on nations.
A recent incident that happened in Chennai, Dr. Subaya got into a misunderstanding with someone in his apartment. And even though it got sorted later, you had said that the Congress, DMK, and the left parties uh, were conniving against you. Do you feel that they are threatened by your rise?
As an organization, we are gradually making our presence felt in Tamil Nadu. Whereas when a particular issue came up, we were stunned. We reached out. The issue initiated with, as you had suggested, from a residential colony, and you can understand in a particular residential colony, it is not one way. Issues happen on the both ways, and whenever you are in this peculiar time of COVID, when everyone is inside their house, and all sort of ideas, all sort of stories go in picture. I'm not saying that a particular person might have believed or thought in a particular direction, but if you see a certain hint of a wrongdoing, you would straight away believe in that kind of a story. And it was necessary that in such situation, instead of jumping onto gun and like totally attacking, we were in a saner way. We wanted to understand how the situation has come to this kind of a misunderstanding, an allegation which is totally wrong, which was stated by our national president himself, and it was stated by within our statements twice over, which we had put. When you are in a position where the other person thinks that you would be threatening their existence, you would be threatening their political reach, these kind of event happened. But somewhere, as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, we are even a smaller fray, but where actual attacks in terms of physical are not happening right now.
Going ahead, what is the plan that ABVP has for the upcoming years? So you must have a future plan set. So what is the plan ahead?
Yeah, ABVP has these beautiful concept of vichar better, we call them. Every 5 years we sit, we deliberate upon how the student movement has to grow further. And we have done a deliberation in Tamil Nadu itself this year in February, just before the pandemic had actually hit in India. And in our deliberation, we have spoken about how the campuses, it has to become more vibrant. It has to have more number of academic and the sports activity, cultural activities, and those need to intermingle with education. There's something like same kind of idea which is there in the national education policy. Taking cue from the national education policy, we are thinking that the educational atmosphere, it has to become more acceptable, like an open-minded and open-armed sphere where youngster can take part in academic as well as I won't call it co-curricular, but other activities which will actually assist in the overall learning process. Youngsters should learn more about their own history and culture and respect them and somehow learn and go forward in the 21st century, that how we would like to make note of these things. The Manchester University has stated in their papers and in the official documents on their website that gravitational force was known to India through earlier authors or researchers, and it was very much possible that the earlier translations of Indian literature in Persian and Arabic, and for Arabic to Greeks and the later, would you say, English or whatever it is, Newton got information about that. And that was very much possible. And in the process of present day intellectual property rights, where we deliberate upon these aspects, when it is a common knowledge in one country or one nation, one place on the earth, the attribution of that very aspect has to be given to the first person who has it earlier as a concept. That's why Panetti's rules for coding, and which is later adopted in the computer sciences, is given as a co-title. The person who learned that one in a computer sciences format, computer language format, and Panini, who has given that kind of coding sequence for Sanskrit. So it is there in our tradition. Our grammar, which is workable to all national or Indian languages, has these kind of codes where we connect with the subject, with the object, subject with the verb. So these kind of learnings.
You want to revive that.
So we want to revive understanding of that one, that youngsters should learn, youngsters should read more, and understand that these are the things which even West cherish whenever they want to create the legacy, and they are not stuck in the past. They are learning from those things and getting ahead, and we would like to make that kind of understanding, that you learn, understand, and that these kind of things have happened in your country, and now you have to go forward.
And I wish you best of luck with that. And thank you for joining me today, Ashish. It was a great conversation.
Talking to you is always a pleasure. Talking to edX is always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
If you want to be part of the discussion, you can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon to listen to the most sensible voices from colleges and universities across the country, to never miss an update from Edexlive.